Welcome back to the show with special guest Jennifer Ellison. But first, does the thought of your man in a pipe and slippers watching the footy in his armchair fill you with sheer unadulterated dread? If it does, you are not alone. Many women want a divorce simply because they are bored rigid. But do women give up on their men too easily? Francine Kaye, the divorce doctor, here you are.
Here I am.
Yes, all these women are so bored they can't stand it for another second and go trotting off for a divorce. Are they doing the right thing?
I don't think they are. I don't think they are. I think an awful lot of women really do need to look at their own personal fulfilment. There's an age between about 36 and 45 when a woman really grows into her own identity. And if she hasn't really got one and it didn't get very formed before she got married, she's going to be searching around for one. Now, if I have to ask my husband for everything that I need, my personal fulfilment and my happiness, it's too big an ask. So I really have to start looking at me and thinking what it is that I need, what I want, what I need to do to give that personal fulfilment to myself. So it isn't just about him.
Having said all of that, don't we all know women, Jennifer, who are a great laugh, who work, who do yoga, who paint, who learn all different kinds of cookery, who are great gardeners or whatever it is, and they're the life and soul of everybody. And then in comes this husband and you think, oh, yawn fest, God's sake. You know, and there's a limit to how exciting and thrilling we can make our own lives if when our husbands walk in the door, we've actually go into a coma, isn't there?
Yeah, I think it's a two-way thing. I don't think it's just women, because I was actually shocked when I read about this, because I had to think that it'd be men who'd more likely give up and walk out. But, you know, to me, probably the percentage of women who are doing it, you know, if they've been working, I think it is, relationships aren't easy, marriages aren't easy, you've got to work at them and it's got to be both ways. And if their partner's given up, then, you know, you can't really blame them, but at the same thing, you know, yeah, you have got to work at it.
I mean, at what stage do you think, Francine, that you can conclude, look, I'm trying to be as fascinating as I can, I'm trying to give myself as many interesting angles as I can, and then he walks in?
It's not really the whole story, because the story really is that two imperfect people marry each other, and they marry each other with their childhood wounds that they come with. So I'm looking to you to fill those ingredients, to fill that gap in me that I needed to have filled when I was a child, and you're doing the same. So really, no two people have ever really met each other. By the time it gets to conflict stage, it's my child in relationship with your child. Right. So the conflict stage is actually the opportunity for growth. And the reason that I get a little bit upset that people do give up on it is because that's the moment where, if they had the right skills and tools, which is the kind of work that I do with people, that they actually could go forward together.
Let me bring Natalie in on this. Natalie Lou, you're a writer. Do you think it's only inevitable that women are just so bored that they trot off to the divorce? Because after all, lots of us have got our own credit cards, our own cars. We think, what do we need you passenger?
I think if ever there was going to be a time when a woman will leave a relationship, it's certainly more likely to be now. Because obviously in times gone by, it just wasn't really the done thing for women to leave a relationship. You stayed, no matter how miserable you were. But that said, doesn't matter what year it is, most women don't know when to leave. A lot of women will stay in a relationship long past its sell-by date,
right?
And they will hold on. And you know, I often say to readers, you know, if you imagine yourself with a defibrillator and you're standing over your flatlining relationship, you just keep putting it down and going, charge, you know, and keep charging, and we don't necessarily know when to fold. I do think that there are those circumstances that you talk about where, yeah, if we are looking for people to fulfill needs...
Well, we remember that film, Jerry Maguire, where Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger going, you complete me.
I hate that line.
You complete me. And you always think, oh, that's what I want. I want the person who completes me. And if you're just boring and just asleep in front of the telly, what do I want you for?
Then you know what you should be saying is, I complete me.
Absolutely.
That's really, I complete me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let me bring Lizzie in on this. Lizzie, what do you think? Hi.
Well, I actually agree 100% with what you're saying, because I have left many, many relationships. I've got a trail of disasters behind me. And now I'm married. It's taken me a good many years to think, well, actually, no, you're not going to fulfil me. I'm going to fulfil me. It's caused a lot of heartache and pain, misery on the way. But I can actually say I'm 45 and I'm happy with who I am. There's things I'd like to do and achieve, but no one else is going to do that but me.
But what's the current husband like?
He's He'll be watching this.
Yes. So he's lovely, right?
He's lovely. He's absolutely gorgeous. In the fact that he's just real. He is who he is.
Is he a bit boring?
Well, yeah, men are boring. They can be more.
Let's ask Francine, are men more boring than women?
Well, I don't think it's that they're more boring. I think that what a lot of men do is they go up into their heads too much and they work out how they should respond to what we're saying to them, because they know that they're going to be dead whichever way. Right. So what they do is they spend a long time trying to work it out. Whilst they're working it out, we think they're not interested because they've taken this withdrawal, this step back. Actually, they're just trying to find a solution. They're trying to give us what it is that we want, but they're not quite as quick as we are.
Right. Let me bring Ben in on this. On the face, they're not quite as quick as we are.
There's a huge gender divide, as you can see, you know what I mean? The fellas just waiting here quietly. I think that there is, agreeing with you, Natalie, I do think that there is more choice for women now. And it's like an easy option to sort of get divorced, where women would have stuck it out beforehand. So I think times have changed.
Do you feel I put you under pressure to be entertaining? To divert me.
No, I mean,
I do.
You're a demanding lady.
If he goes to sleep in the evening, I go, if he falls asleep, I say to him, wake up. And then I say, look, you're 10 years younger than me. You shouldn't be asleep. If I wanted someone to sleep, I'd go out with an older man, not a younger man.
On the other hand, what are you making it mean that he goes to sleep?
I find it deeply insulting. I think I'm so entertaining, he should be up, lapping up every hilarious thing I say.
And you're always like, at dinner parties, she's always like, oh, Ben, tell him that time about this. Tell that story. Go on. And you're like, what story? What? And then you have to start to, because you're around the table and you've got to tell the stories.
Because I think don't be boring. If you're here, don't be boring.
It is 24/7.
Yeah, it is.
I was too much of a gentleman to admit that, but you wanted to admit it, so. Okay.
But it's true, isn't it? Because I don't want you to be boring.
But I'm not boring.
Well, you can, you're lovely at times, but it can
I'm an entertainer.
Slightly on the tedious side.
There's a difference between boring and actually being relaxed and chilling.
Relaxed? You can relax. Life is short. Bring in the sofa service before we get too relaxed.
Come on, look, I'm sending Paul in.
Look, I've got to tell you, I've just celebrated a silver wedding with my wife.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I've got to tell you, life, 25 years, you can't be entertaining day in, day out. It's all about, first and foremost, being friends and supportive to each other in times of need. When your parents are ill, you support each other. You can't be the life and soul of the party all the time. Some of the time, yes. So I think it's very important to work at it. It's too easy for women to walk away from a marriage nowadays, and I think you've just got to work together and try it out, stick it out.
And yet, what if you just look at the man in your life and you think, this is all there is? After all these years, I've just got to look at you, snoozing in front of the television for the rest of my life?
You look at a woman and say that.
Well, women don't do that, do we? We're not doing that. We're too busy doing the ironing. We're not snoozing.
I think sometimes you just have to say it's complete. I think there are occasions when relationships are complete. And it's almost like if you've had a really good meal and then the waiter comes to you and says, would you like to eat that all over again? It's like, no, I'm full, I'm done. So there are times, definitely, genuinely times, when relationships are complete, but it's knowing when that is.
But isn't there an obligation on both partners in a relationship to be at least some of the time entertaining, not to always be predictable and obvious, not to do what they always do?
Depends what you chose.
Jennifer's just looking like, what the hell have I walked into here? For God's sake. I really want to hear from the Elvis impersonator more than anyone else on this subject. I mean, I would imagine that would keep a wife really thoroughly entertained. You just come in and give it some. Elvis.
I met my wife. I was in the show. She came to rehearsal on the Sunday. I was singing Loving You.
Yeah.
I was introduced to her. I took her out 4 nights in a row, and I proposed to her the following bank holiday Monday, and she said, well, you've better speak to my dad. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, my daughter was with her boyfriend for 3 years before they got engaged. Yeah. I went to see her dad on the Wednesday, and I said, I'd like to have a chat with you. He said, yes. I said, and I only met Cheryl a week ago. Yes. He said, yes, what do you say? I said, well, I love her. He said, you're telling me you met my daughter a week ago and you've fallen in love with her? I said, yes. He said, and you want to marry her? I said, yeah, I want to marry her. And he said to me, yes. He said, why didn't you ask her before? He said, I proposed to my wife in 2 days. So he did. He proposed to my mother. And we shook hands and we got engaged immediately, married 10 months later. Yeah. And that was 28 years ago.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations. My thanks to Francine, to Natalie, to Lizzie, and of course to our sofa surfers. After the break, it's all about Jennifer Ellison. We'll see you in 3.